Greetings and welcome to this week's edition of One Big Thing. So where do we start? There's so much going on around the world. So let's go with money. So from Wednesday last week to July, which was July 31st, and Monday night, August 5th, the Dow Jones Index lost 2,100 points. A little over 3% of its value. Man, that was a massive move, given how much money that is. There was trillions of dollars in market cap lost in 5 days. And all the pessimists from around the world came out and said, hey, this is the end of the world. Oh no, it's the end of the U.S. It's the end of capitalism. Yeah, so all the negative thinkers were out there. But the reality is, it's the coming home of spending more than we take in. We're going to have a $2 trillion deficit this year. And everyone's screaming for more money and, oh, I've had budget cuts. Budget cuts! We have record spending, we have record receipts, and people are talking about budget cuts. There's nobody been cut. Somebody needs to send them back to school to learn math. But, you know, with a US $35 trillion deficit, nobody wants to address it. And really, does a politician, they might get elected talking about, we gotta get spending under control. But the reality is, once they get elected, whoa, no. Man, they don't get reelected for not spending money. And so our government has become just this massive money pit, constantly demanding more money. So when the selling came into the equities world and prices dropped, margin calls had to be met, and long positions were being liquidated into everything to meet those margin calls. Now, fortunately, the equity markets are stabilizing. We got a nice little recovery yesterday, and today, this morning, it's been another plus day. So we had some overpriced equities. There's no doubt about it. So maybe some reality's coming in. But that's the equity markets that are stabilizing. What about the grain markets? Well, you know, when we look at soybeans, and we talked about them last week, but Brazil is looking at 178 million metric ton crop for next year. That's 20 plus million more than this year. Holy smokes. And that weighs on all the grains. And okay, the weather's been nearly perfect in the U.S. It gets hot, and then it rains, then it cools off. And now we've got a cool spell coming in where temperatures have dropped 15 degrees. And this morning, it was 62 degrees here in Kansas City. And it was only, I don't know if we got to 80 yesterday or not. And today, it's only supposed to get to 81. Wow. So, we're on the way, in all reality, of a record corn yield. I don't know if we'll get the record corn crop because of acreage and stuff, but it's very possible. And it's going to really take a serious weather issue next year, or in the midst of harvest this year, to put a solid bottom in these markets. They're going to continue to leak lower. And farmers are going to be looking for homes. They got more grain than they have storage for. And we haven't seen the building the last couple of years for new storage expansions on that. And, you know, the Chinese, they're not going to be there to be under the market to buy. Look, their population has peaked and is declining. It's down about 2 million people. Their real estate market is an incredible mess, and it's headed for messier times. And the government is going, well, let's just build a bunch of stuff. So they're pushing really strong on the manufactured goods, and they're just dumping it into the global markets, setting off the potential for an incredible, nasty global trade war, not just with the US, but with Europe too. Oh yeah. And we got wars on the brink. We've got Iran expected to attack Israel literally any moment. And with Biden and Harris as our leaders, they're hiding in the weeds somewhere. Nobody's seen Joe forever. And Kamala's an idiot. And our military is at its weakest point since Vietnam fiasco. We've got no leadership in Washington or within the military. The military's been so focused on being woke. And we've got China, Russia, and North Korea. Who knows what they could be doing in the next 3 months. So anyway, it's going to be interesting